This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Vayiyu Chayei Sarah, Meya Shana, Ve'esrim Shana, Ve'shava Shanim, Shnei Chayei Sarah. Sarah lived 100 years, 20 years, 7 years, the years of the life of Sarah. We're familiar with the statement of Rashi, Bas Kuf Kabas Chaf Lechet. When she was 100, she was like 20 for sin. Ma Bas Chaf Lechata, just like at the age of 20, she had no sin. Shaharei Einon Bas Oinshin, because she's not liable for punishment. Af Bas Kuf B'Lechet. So too, when she was 100, she was without sin. So here's the question that is raised by the Brisker. When she was 100, she was like 20 without sin. Just like 20, she had no sin because she's not a bar oinshin. The halacha that until you're 20, you're not a bar oinshin is that you're not a bar oinshin in shamayim. Heaven won't punish you until you're 20. But once a person is 13 years old, they're a bar oinshin down here in this world, which means a person is liable for their actions. So what does it mean that she's not a bar oinshin? This is only legabe oinshe shamayim. But the ched is a ched gomor once a person is a gadol or a gedola, a boy when they're 13 and a girl when she's 12. So how could you say, well, she didn't have sin? The being a bar oinshin is only relevant to punishment from heaven. But in terms of whether a sin is a sin is a sin from the age of 12. What's Rashi saying? So the Brisker explains as follows, that even though many know that Sarah was not Kara, she was barren, but she was more than barren, because the Gemara Nivamis says in Daf Samach Dalet, Sarah imenu ailenis haisa. She was an ailenis, which means she physically did not have a womb. She wasn't only infertile, she could not have children. Now the Rambam in Parak Beis of Hilchos Ishus Halacha Gimel explains that an ailenis has the status of a katana until she's 20 years old. Even if she does not have the Simanei Ailenis, but if in reality she is an Ailenis, she is considered a Ketana until 20, and in that case, not only is she not a Bar Oinshin in Hashamayim, she's not a Bar Oinshin in even Bidei Adam, meaning her sins are not considered sins. So that's what Rashi means. Rashi says she's not a Bar Oinshin. Rashi doesn't mean only she's not a Bar Oinshin because you're not a Bar Oinshin in Hashamayim until 20, but because she was an Ailenis, she was Nekiya Mechet because she had a din of a Ketana. Based on this, the Brisker explains the conclusion of Rashi. Because Rashi says, Ubas chaf kebas zayin liyofi. When she was 20, she was like 7 for beauty. Now, where do we get 7 from? Like, who decided that 7 is the most beautiful age? And when she was 20, she was like 7 for beauty. So the question is, if Sari Menu was an ailenis is not an appealing condition. A woman who's an ailenis usually looks very unbecoming. An ailenis, Simanei Ailenis, the way the Rambam describes it, is antithesis to beauty. So how was Sarah so beautiful? So when a woman begins to display the signs of being an ailenis, that's the time when her appearance is unbecoming. But so long as the Simanei Ailenis are not recognizable, so then that does not affect her beauty. Now, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Samach Tesem Beis, that the original generations would reach the age of Gadlus at 8 years old. So in that case like this, just like when Sarah was 7, she was beautiful. Why was she beautiful? Because the signs of ailenis were not recognized on her yet. So we could all definitely say that was her, for sure her most beautiful age, because her gadlus, she did not reach the age of gadlus until 8. So at 7, she was the most beautiful. So just like she was beautiful at 7, she was also beautiful at 20 when her signs of ailenis began to become apparent. So that's the, so to speak, the behind the scenes of the true meaning of Rashi. When she was 100, she was like 20, because until 20, she was not a bar oinshin, even bidei Adam. And when she was 20, she was as beautiful as when she was 7, because just like when she was 7, the Simanei Ailenis are not recognizable on anybody because one is not a gedola yet. So on Sarah, she was as beautiful at the age of 20 as well, even when the Simanei Ailenis were nicker. Says the Brisker, this is the oimek hapshad of the words of Rashi. Wishing everyone a great Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.